What's up, everybody? Welcome to Podcast Now. I'm Alex, and in this video, I want to jump into the controversy that is GTA 6. So we touched upon it, and I tried to tackle kind of each, element of it yesterday when we talked about, the rumors, the Jason Schreier report that came out about everything. Now, I want to focus more on, each individual thing and jump into that woke versus non-woke conversation. So the first thing we need to talk about, obviously, right, is the female character. Now, I don't think inherently, I somewhat understand where people are coming from when they say, oh, it's going to add a female. Like, it comes across so bad, and I don't think it's really necessarily worded properly, because having a woman, lead your game or be a co-lead. Remember, this game is actually co-led by a woman. There's one woman, one male as the lead. Doesn't make your game woke, right? And I guess woke in the way, and what I think some people are trying to say, but again, I don't really think they do a great job about it when they say, oh, it adds a female, like the game's, screwed now. What I think the worry is that you're going to drop all, like trying to make the character a good character and just kind of fall back on they're a female, right? Just like you maybe fall back on like a minority or, whatever. You fall back and you say, well, because the character is this, that's what makes them special. That's what makes them likable. You need to like them, for that, instead of them actually being a good character. That, I believe, is the worry. I do think that's a valid concern with anything. It's the same thing with literally any race, any gender, literally anything. If you have a character, they should not be defined by, their skin color or their gender or their look. That you should make them a good character, right? That I don't think that's controversial actually in the slightest to say. It's just when it is said about a specific group or, whatever, that's when it starts to get controversial. So my honest opinion is that I don't think that immediately makes the game like it's the Titanic and just hit the iceberg, right? I really don't think that. There have been very, very strong female characters in lots of different things. That does not sink the game, even in like an agenda driven or like a political kind of thing mindset. It doesn't sink them, right? Some do, but I don't think that immediately means anything. That's my 2 cents. Now, couple that though, because I do understand, like, I'm looking at it as a separate issue. I do think actually some people are combining it, which I think could be very, very valid to do. You combine it with the talk of, that they've kind of cleansed their office of issues, whatever issues is defined by them, right? An issue for one may not be an issue for the other person, but they cleanse their office of issues. They're going progressive. It's more like a progressive mindset in the company. And then they go into the conversation we had in that video about the whole, they're no longer going to be punching down to marginalized groups, right? They talked about that. So my opinion on that is still the same today as it was yesterday. But like, again, to kind of take a more deep dive approach, in my belief, you should be able to make fun of anybody. Now, you should not like go after and like single out and attack and stuff like that, right? Like, that's obviously taking it too far. But the thing and this is a tough conversation, because the thing with jokes, right, because they're specifically talking about comedy. They talk about, because and the idea on Twitter and people online talking about this is, watering down the game. They're watering down the game. They're going woke. They're gonna pull their punches. They're not gonna be as edgy, right? You could look at Saints Row, whatever. The thing with comedy is it's subjective. A joke may offend somebody, but also may make somebody else crack up and laugh, right? A joke is also words, and I want to make that kind of clear of at least my belief of comedy is they're just words. Somebody saying something to you, yes, they have the words, and those words have weight. And in a society, words do have weight. That is absolutely true. But part of it as well is how much you take that to heart. I'm not saying you, like, the person receiving the joke or the person on the other end of the joke, they are 1000% to blame for the joke, because they're not even the ones who said it, right? But if you're going to let it get to you to the point of like mass depression of like say a year, like say a joke makes you go into mass depression for a year, part of that, I do believe you need to shoulder some responsibility, because they're words. The society that we're now in is like, you have to take everything super seriously, and somebody that you have no idea who they are, that doesn't know your life, you don't know theirs, but they don't know your life, they mean nothing to you, absolutely nothing to you. Their words can hurt you. The old saying of like, sticks and stones may break my bones. I know you say that to children, but I do actually think that's a thing that you should always said. You should probably tell that to adults as well. But I get it. I get it's a sensitive issue. And again, I get like jokes to one person does not mean the same thing as to another person. But my general belief is if you are protecting groups of people, which is what I said yesterday, right? If you're protecting marginalized groups and you're taking these people and you're saying, all right, look, you're literally off limits. Like your group is so special. You're such like an elite class. Even, and of course you can make it, well, they're not elite, Alex. They were put down for generations. What? Okay, but it's not, you shouldn't overcorrect. An overcorrection is just as bad as, I guess, the way that it was, right? So a group that maybe has always been singled out in jokes. Maybe they have. They've been singled out. The way you fix that is not by saying, okay, well, now you are protected for life. You will never, ever be joked about again. And if you are joked about, we're going to fire the employees that think those jokes in the game are funny. We're not going to put them in the game. But what we are going to do is, of course, make fun of people that we deem like accessible to be made fun of. Like, we're going to go after specific groups of people because, of course, well, they're the protected class of the past. They deserve to be made fun of, but you guys, you don't deserve to be made fun of, so we will never make fun. And again, like, jokes are subjective. Making fun, maybe it's insulting to one, maybe it's not insulting to another. Also, like, you have to have a sense of humor in a sense, right, where you should be able to take some punches. Now, again, I am not advocating for, like, attacks and singling out marginalized groups to just go after them, right? Because that's clearly not an okay thing to do. But the thing is, I keep saying this one phrase, I keep saying singled out, right? My ideal world, my ideal GTA game, and yes, it's a small part of it, and we'll get there. My ideal GTA game would be just make fun of everybody. Make fun of conservatives, make fun of liberals, make fun of every race, make fun of every, gender, like, just make fun, like, do what you feel you need to do, right? Like, just be open. Don't hold back, because now you're you're picking sides. You're admitting inadvertently, maybe, you're admitting who is okay to target and who is not. And again, like, you may say, well, this was a protected class and now they're being going after, and the class that was destroyed for generations, now they're being protected. But that's not okay. I don't really understand why anybody thinks that. Truly, because that's just an overcorrection. To go from here to then here is not, it's the same thing. It's what we always say. In Hollywood, there's kind of been these instances where directors or actors, whatever, have displayed like blatant, let's say the R word that ends with like ism, but just the reverse, just going after the opposite race. And it's like, well, that's not okay. Just because it has historically been one way doesn't mean you shift it to be historically the other way. Full stop. Like, that doesn't, so what, can we go in the middle? Is that possible, to just do it for everybody or not do it for everybody, whatever the case may be? Can we do that? Or like, no, I guess we always have to put somebody down, right? That's, I guess, the way it has to be. Now, again, like, jokes, they're jokes. So that's where I stand on the woke stuff. I mean, right now, I guess it's too early to call. That's definitely a thing we should say. Also, of course, you could say, well, it's not confirmed. Like, we don't know. We also don't know. Like, this is Jason Schreier, right, who wrote this. And Jason Schreier is kind of, he's linked to a lot of different stuff. The way he writes is very, like, it's a Jason Schreier article when you see it. Does that make sense? There's always talk of like specific things. He always focuses on the same themes for any article that he writes, and maybe that's human. I mean, I probably do that, right? I focus, but you can kind of sense that. So just because he focuses on it in the article and he makes like a big deal about it, and then of course the internet makes a big deal about it, we'll see what that leads to in the game. Like, I know people are saying, well, all this stuff about pulling punches with jokes and stuff. Well, like, Red Dead 2 is fine. Like, Red Dead 2 is a fine game. But, like, Red Dead 2 was still also a while ago. I believe, was it October of 2018? It was 4 years ago. And the rumor is, again, they've gutted a lot of people that are problematic from there. So, like, people that maybe saved or didn't say, like, whichever side you fall on, people that were around that didn't align, a lot of them have been booted, right? So to go back to, well, Red Dead was fine, well, that doesn't mean GTA is going to be fine, because a lot of people have left, right? That's kind of a side thing. But and look, to be flat out honest, I did want to talk about the woke versus anti-woke stuff, but my opinion is, like, I'm still more interested in the other stuff they talked about in the game. The game coming out, and then Like, is it a live service game? It sure sounds like it, where it comes out, it's a full package. And again, what does that mean? Like, how big? And in the article they say, well, it's probably going to be the biggest GTA game ever at launch. So they get you, and they say, okay, well, over time, much like what Assassin's Creed Infinity and Ubisoft is trying to do, we're going to add to it. Well, all right, well, let me see that. Because I do think GTA is a game that can take that idea, that whatever you want to call it, that like plan that other developers have tried and some are trying. I think they stand the greatest chance of like, you stand the greatest chance of actually getting a full game at launch, unlike other franchises, right? But some franchises come out and they're not actually there. They're not actually ready at launch, and then you'll get everything later. GTA, I would have the most confidence that at launch you would have a bunch of stuff, and then you could do stuff, afterwards, and it can keep expanding, which would be really cool. So to me, like, that's the biggest thing, or that's at least one of the biggest things. The female protagonist thing really doesn't upset me, like, at all, at least right now. Again, like, if they fall back on, well, she's a female, she's the first of her kind, she's the first she's the first woman literally ever in a game, and they run with that, and it's like, well, I mean, are you really gonna go with that? Or is that supposed to be a joke or what? Like, if that's what they're doing, then yes, that would obviously be a problem. But female, male, like literally anybody, they shouldn't rely on who they, their gender or their, or what they identify as. They shouldn't. That's not what makes the character, in my opinion. The character actually needs to have a character. And again, like, I get it. Like, in Hollywood and stuff, we have seen characters that have kind of fallen back on, well, you need to like them because this. Well, not because of who they are. You need to like them because of something you can physically see. Well, they're black. Well, what if you said that for the other thing? Well, they're white. Well, don't you love them? They're white characters. It's like, oh my God. You know what I mean? Like, I know that sounds bad, right? That probably comes across maybe like cringy or stuff. But like, what if you said that? Oh, you need to like them. Oh, well, why? Well, because they're white. Well, of course you would need to like. It's like, well, what? Why would I like them? Because they're like, you need to give me something. So I understand it. It comes across really bad, and people don't really know how to say it. And now, granted, maybe I said it wrong in this video. Maybe I'm going to make people mad. But that's my opinion on the whole thing. So we still have years to go. We haven't seen it yet. We probably won't see it for, my God, at least, like I said, maybe December for Jeff Keighley's The Game Awards. Could be the earliest that we would see like a teaser trailer. And then you still have years left to kind of build it up. So it's a long road, and we'll see what happens. People aren't happy, though. I will say that. Like, there is a divide that I didn't necessarily see coming in the GTA community. There is absolutely a divide online on this game, which always makes people it's the happiest group of people. Everybody respects each other's opinions. Everybody loves each other. It's going to be great. It's going to be great in this video. It's great on Twitter. Just have fun with it. So let me know what you guys think in the comments. Make sure you guys are subscribed, bell icon turned on so you know when all these videos go up. If you want to follow or support me anywhere else, including our Patreon, all the links are in the description below. Thank you for watching, guys. I hope to see you all on the next one.